When she passed, I started feeling a tremendous amount of guilt for leaving home. Like, I knew she was proud of me, but probably wish I lived closer so she could show up at my house unannounced. And she'd always drop these not-so-subtle hints to try to get me to move closer to home. She'd say stuff like, Chicago doesn't have earthquakes or mudslides. I'd say, yeah, they also don't have an emphasis on eating vegetables outside of sandwiches or temperatures above freezing 5 months out of the year. But I needed to leave. I smoked catnip, remember? There's no coming back from that. When I was a kid, I was obsessed with the music business, and I very badly wanted to work in the music industry. But rather than go the traditional route for college, I decided that I needed to go to music school. Also, my grades and my test scores decided that for me, but tomato, tomato. What made this difficult was pitching this idea to my mom, but I was confident. We sat in the living room, and I made my case. I said, Mom, I know you're not sure if I'm doing the right thing, but I just want to follow my passion and do something fulfilling, that means something. And she stared at me for a moment. She said, so you are gay. So I went to music school because my mom couldn't tell me that my dreams were stupid. But her fears may have been valid because my college actually went bankrupt and shut down. Turns out it was run by the same people who did the Fire Festival. Shout out to Ja Rule. I should have known that my college was scammy because when they gave me my degree on stage, I opened it and it read, thanks for investing in our slush fund. Now, despite the fact my college went bankrupt, I still had student loans and I wasn't paying them, so they were calling me relentlessly. But one day I answered and the collection agent said, if you make a payment today, you may qualify for our partial forgiveness program. And I said, oh, honey, I don't hold grudges. I already forgave those loans. Now, a few years after school, I was really struggling in the music business, and I needed to get a new job, or I was going to have to move back home from LA. And I called my mom and asked her for some advice on getting a new job, and she said to lie on my resume. And I said, well, what if they ask me questions that I can't answer? And she said, well, if they do, just tell them it's none of your business. So I got a job interview, and I sat with the lady in her office, and she looked at my resume and said, okay, looks like you have some good skills here, but I'm not sure how well you align with this position. I said, how well do I need to align with being a line cook at Taco Bell? And she said, and for college, it looks like you went to a music school that I never heard of. Is that like ITT Tech? I said, yes, and that they too went bankrupt after lying to me through 2 a.m. TV commercials while I was stoned. And she said, and it looks like your last role was as a sales associate. Can you tell me more about that position? And I said, well, I've generated more commissions than any other employee. And she said, and how many employees were there? And I said, oh, I didn't think you had a follow-up question. So she sat down my resume and said, okay, why would you even want this job? And I said, whoa, that's none of your business. So after I was escorted from the building, I called my mom and she asked how it went, and I said, terribly. And she said, well, you shouldn't have lied. And I yelled, you were the one who told me to lie. I could tell she was satisfied because she said, well, sounds like you'll just have to move back home with your mother.